Welcome to our second Facebook Live Brownbag Infosession. I'm with Bryan and Dan here. They both work with our fare payment systems, and they kind of help set, the prices for everything. So we thought we'd bring them in to talk about the proposed changes to our fares as, we go and start making them. Anyways, so let's begin. I wanted to first talk about a little bit, if we could go over the actual amounts that we're changing. So how much are we changing by? Like what can people expect? Most people should be looking through, the books here, but let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. So how are we changing?
Well, what we're proposing initially, the base fare of $1.70 to make an adjustment to make that $1.85.
Okay.
Access basically would double it to $3.70 as well.
Gotcha.
Then we're looking at access on demand, moving it from $6 for the 16 miles to $6.50 for the 14 miles. And then all the other fares associated with it will, in incremental steps, they'll increase as well across the board.
Gotcha. Okay. So obviously no one wants to increase fares, right? We don't like doing it. I'm sure, our viewers at home also don't like, having to pay a little bit extra, but it is necessary. So why are we increasing it?
Well, we have a few different items that are driving the need to increase fares. And those come back to a budget shortfall that we have, about $8.7 million. Now, increasing fares will only make up a small portion of that deficit that we have, that we're facing, but it is one tool that we have available. Increasing revenues allows us to close that gap a little bit. There are, however, a number of other larger scale changes for service reductions that are actually the primary way that we're looking to close that gap. And I think that's been covered in another one of these sessions, and we have a lot more information about that online as well.
Right. And so then let's talk about change cards, right? This has been a big hot topic online. This has, been something we've been hearing a lot about at public meetings. People are kind of, generally upset that we're removing the change cards. What's kind of the thought process behind removing those? Why are we not using them anymore?
Well, looking at removing the change card does a lot for our system as a whole. Improving boarding times. A lot of times people board with 2, 3, 6 change cards at a time. Also, the amount of change cards that are issued and put into the fare box cause a lot of maintenance issues, a lot of jams and such, and they're really not that durable. So they're just pieces of paper with a light coating on it. So if you put it in the washer, you've lost your change card as it is. But talking to people at all the public meetings that we've been to, we have found out that a lot of people, their opinions kind of have swayed our proposal slightly to possibly hold off getting rid of change cards so we implement our new fare system next year. Right.
Okay. And so what do people do then if they don't have exact change? Just, if we, use the $1.85, what should people expect?
Yeah, if you don't have exact change, let's say that hypothetically the fare does go to $1.85 as currently proposed for the base fare, and you do put into $1 bills, you just wouldn't get anything back in return in terms of change or a change card that you could use on a future trip. And so to Bryan's comment about some of the things that we've heard about that, one of the possibilities that we can that is available to us is to delay the implementation or delay phasing out change cards until we have a new system in place, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. And then raise the base fare a little bit more to, for example, $2. So that's one of the things that's under consideration, to be able to continue to issue and accept change cards until we have this new technology platform up and running.
Right. And so as he mentioned, a lot of these things are up for consideration. We've been listening to all the comments we've been getting on social media and at our public meetings, and we want to let you know that we have heard them. And we are we're looking at our proposed changes and trying to figure out where we can make changes to accommodate things people have been talking about. Fares being one of those. So, and we'll announce that information as soon as we, make some decisions about what those proposals will be. We'll present them at the board meeting, and we'll also have another info session that kind of talks about those changes. All right, so you guys have referenced it. We've got a new fare payment system that's kind of coming up, and a lot of these changes are kind of building up to that. So tell me about it. What's this new fare payment system look like? We've been hearing so much about it, but what can we expect?
Well, the new fare system, it'll be an account-based system. So right now, you buy your magnetic passes, you use them, they're dead, you dispose of them, you can't use them again. But the account-based system, you'll be able to buy the same passes that we sell now, just in a different form. So for example, I can get 2 31-day passes. I'll put them on my account, and I can tie them to about 4 different fair types of media that we'll be selling, that we'll have to offer. Thus securing my media that I have.
Right.
So if I lost my magnetic card right now, or like I said earlier, if I wash it, I'm done with it. But with the new fair system, you'll be able to not only hold your passes in a secure platform and not have to worry about them being damaged by just water. You'll also be able to add money to that account as well. So if you just want to pay for a one-ride fare, you can do that and it will deduct automatically. Similar to like a Starbucks card or a Dunkin' Donuts card or even a reloadable gift card almost.
Right. Cool. Okay, so let's talk about the different ways people can use this new fare payment system. What are the different ways people will be able to interact with it? And did we have a question?
No, we actually were interrupted for a time, so I want to apologize. If you could just repeat what you said there, that would be great.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
Okay, just recap the fair media.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, no problem. So there's a few different types of fair media that will be available, and apologies if a little bit of this is redundant, but we have a smart card like my employee ID here, which has a chip in it and an antenna. You might be familiar if you visited other cities. Having transit cards is a very similar concept, and that card will be tied to an account where there will be products available. For example, you can put a day pass or a 7-day pass or just $5 onto your card, onto your account via a number of different means, online or at ticket vending machines, etc. And then you can just tap that card when you get on the bus, and either the appropriate fare will be deducted if you're just using value on your card, or the pass will be used if you have, for example, a day pass on the card. And you can also do the exact same thing with this new system with a smartphone application, where you can just you can choose what product you want to load onto your account on your phone, and then you can present your phone when you're boarding the vehicle again to electronic validator. Your phone will be scanned via a barcode, and then the appropriate fare will be deducted or the appropriate pass will be used. And then we also have a few other media for more limited use applications. For example, if you just want to get a day pass, maybe you're just visiting in town and you're not interested in getting the hard plastic card, you can get that. It'll be issued on a smart ticket that can also be read by the validator on the vehicle. Or for just a single-use ticket, we also have the ability to just print the tickets in the form of barcodes onto paper.
Gotcha. Okay. So cool. So let's talk about who these different types of fare media might be good for. So let's start with reloadable cards. Who might be interested in that? And how do those work, just again, as a recap?
Well, I think a reloadable card would be best suited for someone who might use transit on a daily basis. So they're commuting every day, all day. Somebody that might buy 31-day passes, 20 rides, and all-day passes every so often. I think those would be best suited for that kind of media itself. Reloading, actually, compared to what we do now, I think right now you can only buy passes at central ticket vending machines. You can call and have it mailed to you. And there's one retailer out there that we partner with that can sell passes. But essentially, with this account-based system, they can reload at customer care at all the ticket vending machines. They can do it if they have the phone app from their app directly. They can do it online. We'll have a pretty robust retail network that they'll be able to go to reload funds onto their account. It is going to expand the system, I think, greatly compared to what we do now.
Cool. And so an unfortunate part, though, about this, though, is people may have to pay for these cards. So do people do then if they can't afford a new card right now, or whenever we start the new system? Do we have something in place for that, or?
Yeah, we want to make sure that anybody who wants to have access to take advantage of the features of this new fare system is able to do so. So what we're looking at doing is having an initial distribution period for the cards where we either waive the cost for the card, or the customer can get a credit for the cost of the card loaded into their account after they purchase it. because we really want to make sure that the system is completely accessible, especially because eventually we're looking at moving all of our existing fare products onto this new platform. So in order to make sure that everyone has access, we are looking at that sort of initial distribution period, and then after that, we haven't set a cost for the card itself, but they're relatively inexpensive. We're talking a few dollars, so we're not talking about $15, $20 for the card.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, how do people get a card whenever we start, rolling these out? Where do they go?
Essentially, they can basically get it at the same avenue as reloading cards. So one of the things we are working on right now is developing that robust retail network, so we can make sure we have retail partners that are near transit lines, that are in places where riders actually go on a daily basis or weekly or monthly basis to get their groceries or just small household items.
Right.
And ticket vending machines will distribute those cards as well. So they'll be able to get those cards from the ticket vending machine as well. I know customer care closes a little early in the day, so they won't necessarily have to wait to get that specific card there.
Right.
They may have to go to customer care to set up certain parts of their account, things like that, but they'll be able to get their card virtually anywhere in Davidson County.
Right. And so when you talk about retailers, you mean like gas stations, grocery stores, those
Correct,
kinds of things?
yes.
Right. Okay, perfect. Okay, and so what do people do if they lose their card? I mean, we lose things all the time. What happens?
Yeah, it's actually right now. I think we could just start with what happens right now. If you just have, say, a 20 ride or something like that, if you lose that physical card, that physical ticket, then you no longer have the value that was associated with that ticket. But this particular system has a real advantage, and that is it is truly an account-based system. In other words, if you get a card and then you set up an account so that your name is associated with that card, which you'll be able to do online or with customer service, then if you do lose that card, we know who that card belonged to. And even if for example, the card is stolen from somewhere, we can, through customer service, block that card from being used and then take the value or the products, the passes that were associated with that card and move them to a new card. So there might be just a card replacement fee or something like that, but if you had a 31-day pass, for example, loaded onto that card, you don't suddenly lose access to that pass, and we think that's going to be really beneficial for customers. And also, aside from it being beneficial if you lose your card or if your card gets stolen, if your card is damaged, just physically damaged in some way as well, then the card can be replaced, but the products associated with it can be moved.
Right. Cool. So what you're saying then is, if I lose my pass, my information and all my, future rides that I haven't used yet are still on my account. I can just get a new one with everything still there.
That's right. As long as you've provided that information to tie that account to you as an individual. You do have the option to use the card anonymously as well, but then you just don't have that account protection. Right.
And so let's talk about that real quick. There's two things that we kind of briefly touched on. There's the smart ticket, and then there's just the regular paper. Who are those good for? What makes that different than our reloadable cards?
Well, the smart ticket and the receipt paper type ticket, those, in my opinion, are more so for people that may be coming to visit the city, or people that, for their personal use, they don't have a smartphone maybe, or they just don't want to have the actual hard smart card. They may just want to get on the bus every so often. They might be a rider that rides every other month. So using the smart, it's kind of like a cardboard kind of ticket. It's still a little more durable than what we have now a little bit, but it has that smart technology that allows them to buy a 31-day pass or a 7-day pass, load on there, and then tap it on the validator on the vehicle itself.
Right. Okay. Great. So let's talk about the phone just one last time. So this is something a lot of people have really been asking for. We hear it all the time on social media. So tell me a little bit about that. What's good? What are the pluses for that?
For paying with your phone.
Yeah.
So you can actively manage your account, see what products you have available on your account using your phone. You can use your phone as your method of payment as well, so that you would download an app where you would set up. It's basically a virtual card, a virtual card account that you have it's tied to your phone, and then you can scan a barcode that's generated on your phone on the onboard validator that's on the bus, and that the validator or the bus knows that that particular code is associated with your account, and then deducts the appropriate fare. And then even, of course, we don't like to think about this, but if something happens to your phone and it gets damaged, or you need to replace your phone, then you still have that account protection where you can take that virtual card that was associated with your phone and move it to a new device.
Right, right. Okay. And then one other thing we like to touch on too, when it comes to these kinds of projects, obviously we're having to make all these service changes, and, we're talking about this deficit that we're in. How are we able to make all these like fare payment changes while also having to, change our service? How are we able to have the budget for all this?
Well, the money for this project actually came from Metro quite a bit ago. So this funding, kind of like all the other funding pots, are different. There's different pools and pots of money. We got federal grants to help pay for this as well. So those are the funding sources that kind of pool together to make this actually possible. We've been working on this for a couple years now, developing this project, making sure that it suits the needs of most of our riders and brings us to the next level in fare collection.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, one of the challenges that we have in managing our budget, we do have specific requirements for how different funding sources can be utilized, and these funds are specifically capital funds for investing in technology or infrastructure. So even if we did want to make the decision, hey, we're just going to cancel this project and we're going to take all the money that was associated with the new fare system and we're going to fill our budget gap so that we don't have to cut service, we wouldn't actually be allowed to do that. We'd just lose the funds that we had allocated to this project.
Right. Right. Okay. And then one last question really that I have, unless we have anything. No. Okay. So this is a lot of change. I mean, a lot of people this is a whole new thing that people have to get used to and get new fare media and, get adapted. I mean, what's the benefit of this new system? I mean, why are we asking everyone to go through all this change?
I think the benefits of the new system, working with customers directly with what we currently use in our fare payment system. Dan touched on earlier about how a person can lose their pass. In this system, they'll be able to transfer it over as long as they set up an account. It provides that protection that we haven't been able to provide when it comes to fare media. So essentially, if someone, say they had a damaged 31-day pass, they would have to pay a partial payment to get a brand new pass and basically start that period over. I think it is going to improve our on-time performance because the boarding process will be a lot quicker. People will actually be able to dig deeper into how they're spending their finances and then budget accordingly with an account like this. They wouldn't necessarily have to worry about paying for things so far in advance and the financial loss if they damage or lost their cards. I also think it'll improve our money as well when it comes to maintenance things. The fare box utilization will drop immensely. We experience quite a few jams on a day-to-day basis, and that again messes up our on-time performance as well.
Yeah, I just add a couple of things. One of the things that we heard in speaking with customers early on about this new project was that for many of them, the bus is the only place or one of very few places that they actually still use cash to pay for services. And so this enables customers, if they choose, not to have to carry cash around with them, which can be a safety concern for some people or just convenience for others. So we see that as a real advantage for the customers, and also just having access to the system. So we talked a little bit about the different ways that customers can interact with the system and get product. So we have the retail distribution network, which is really important, working with all these different retailers to have dozens of locations around the city where customers can have access to the cards or to reload those cards. Brand new ticket vending machines that will also give customers additional access. Of course, we'll still have customer care, but then also online access. So this is really bringing customers, I think, in many areas already expect these types of conveniences to be available, to be able to have an account that you can manage online for a lot of different things. And so now we're really trying to catch up to that and provide the same convenience in public transit as other people have in many other areas for the way that they pay for the things that they use.
Right, right. Okay, well, and that's all the questions I had. Thanks to everyone for watching. We hope this was helpful. We hope this explained some things. Feel free to let us know what you think about this. We're always looking for input, especially on these potential changes to the fair, Anyway, so we'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned. Again, we'll be having other Facebook info sessions sometime soon, probably next week, about the changes to our changes that we may be making based on comment we've been receiving. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.